Hey, good morning, everybody. How are you? It's Friday. Hey, I do want to remind everybody that next week will be a short week. In fact, I think Hit Run Candlesticks and Right Way Options both will be gone Thursday and Friday. I do want to remind you of that. Today is options expiration. Today's going to be a crazy day. There's just no doubt about it. Yeah. Yeah. Crazy market we've got going on here. Let's see. I saw Jimmy. Are you here, Jimmy? Jimmy in one. Jimmy, you here? Just want to say howdy to you. Thanks for being here. I think you're new here. Yeah. I see you post you make comments and whatnot on my YouTube channel. Thank you. If you're the same Jimmy in one, appreciate that very much. Yeah, cool. Glad to have you here. Okay, so seriously, I think today is it's just going to be an insane day. SPY is just flopping around up here. I can't be bearish at this point. Not yet. Nothing about this really says that get all kinds of bearish. If we switch over and look at the diamonds, at least a little while ago, the diamonds tell me to absolutely be bearish here. We're still moving to the downside. Now, where we are here pre-market here, I'm going to have to say the 50-period moving average is likely something to shoot for here. IWM, I'm kind of thinking that there's that 50-period moving average right there. Seems like a, whoops, lost audio. There we go. Sorry about that, JW. Thank you. Looks like IWM, it might be headed down to that 50-period moving average. FNGU is still hanging on, as well as the Qs. In fact, the Qs are honestly probably keeping us alive right now in the market here. If we take a look at VXX, that's setting up as a bullish trade here, so we want to be very careful. We start moving up over, well, if we just get above those red dots and they start turning green, that puts us in the direction of that 50-period moving average up here. You're going to have the 34 EMA in there that could be a little bit of a problem. We're going to have this little high that could be a little bit of a problem. But as the VIX starts popping up a little bit, that will cause a little irritation in the market. And if you're on the wrong sides of the trades, well, it's going to cause some irritation, so be careful. I had a watch list. Normally on Fridays, I don't do any kind of a watch list, mainly because I'm lazy and I want to start my weekend. And I started a watch list earlier this morning, and then as I watched the pre-market and I watched the scanner works pre-market, and I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, what in the world is going on here? And, well, I started seeing some charts that I probably should add to that watch list. Now, we're not going to have time to talk about 13. That's what's on here. So I think what I'll do is do every other one, kind of. You'll see what I mean. We'll kind of skip around here. So let's start with drip as an example. Look at drip here. Nice rounded bottom. Let's get rid of that. There we go. Nice rounded bottom here. This is an inverse ETF. I've mentioned this before years ago when I first started trading, and it was, I don't remember when, but it was after I started, and I don't know, several months maybe even a year. Somebody educated me on what an inverse ETF was. I didn't have very much money, and I could only trade inexpensive stocks. And at the time, I knew nothing about shorting. It was the most scariest thing in the world to me back then. All I knew was long. So they introduced the inverse ETFs to me, and I thought that, what a beautiful tool. Why didn't somebody tell me this earlier? So if you're in that situation where you can't short, say the SPY, there's other ways you can short but not short, and you don't have to put that big cost out there. Diamonds, maybe if you want to short the diamonds, you don't have to do that. You can actually go long something that will do the same thing. So anyway, we'll run through a couple of these. So here's drip, and what we're looking for is we're actually shorting some oil and gas here. Nice rounded bottom. We've got a nice little drop down in here, giving us an inverted head and shoulders right there. There's a shoulder, head, shoulder. We're up over the T-line. We're up over the Trendicator. That 50 period moving average looks like it's going to get tagged. Now, I've been talking about this more and more on how much I do use the moving averages, and I use them like a magnet. You get close enough to the 50 and it'll draw a price up there. Now, it may absolutely die when it gets there, but it may draw that price up there, and that's where we can capitalize and make some money. It's not on this list. I'm actually long SCO, got long over here. And here's SCO coming right up to that 50 period moving average now. Now, I'm not going to close it out right away. I'm going to wait and see how things kind of go this morning, because just maybe it pops up and it gets here and fills in that little gap, maybe at 1475-ish. So we'll keep an eye on that. Okay, so there's an inverse ETF. Let's come over here and look at one that could be a trade, a long trade. Let's look at Plug. I still like what Plug is doing. It's still trending. All this area through here is just consolidation, rest, just doing a lot of nothing. So I'm watching Plug for, and I'm really not in it, so I need it. There we go. So I'm watching for Plug to give us that buy signal here. Up over 43.60 right now would do it for me. If we started popping up something like this, that would do it for me. That might get me right into Plug. So let's do SDOW now. This is an inverse ETF. Look at the inverse. So this would be a good one if you think the SPY has more to go down, but you have trouble shorting at $470 here. I get that. There's another way around it, and this SDOW might be one. There's a few more out there. Nice low, high, higher low. And we've actually made a higher high here. What a nice little chart you could put a trend line on here. The Trendicator here, the red dots, is now turning green. And that has a path up there to the 50 period moving average. And look at that little, and I'm not one saying that we have to fill a gap. Believe me, I'm not one of those guys, okay? Once we get there, and if we get close to that gap in the 50 here, that could draw it right in there, act like that magnet. But what a nice little chart right here. So this is, like I say, this could be very helpful for those that can't trade those bigger numbers. SDS, yes, Vern, SDS is one. Setting up here this morning. Looks like we're going to open up higher than yesterday. Yep, absolutely. All right, let's look at a long trade. Let's look at Nokia here. I kind of like what Nokia is doing, and if you look at this chart right here in Nokia, I don't particularly like it. But if you take it and you get rid of all that wild and craziness, and you trim it down, all of a sudden you can see that you have what I think is a nice looking chart. So let's forget about all this stuff here, and let's just put a trend line on this. Actually, here, let's come up here. There we go. So what I would like to see now is bullish activity, and it doesn't necessarily have to be bought on that breakout, but that certainly is a strategy. I'm not for it. I'm not against it. It's just I think that's a great strategy. Another strategy would be to, because of the gap down the dojis and the move up, this looks pretty intentional. So here's where I might like to use that 50 period moving average right there. I might see this as a buy inside this area here. I don't really care if it's down here at what 578 or up here at 584, just in this area. If I see a buy signal, right now I do not see that based on the candle, the current pre-market candle, and or the breakout here. So really looks to me like Nokia might be one that I have to consider here. And then from there, it could run right up here to retest these highs and possibly move higher. Let's look at DXD. So let's go to the diamonds first. So say you want to short the diamonds, and but it's $350 here, just a little expensive for you maybe. Then DXD might be a way to go. You can see here price, we're over the Trendicator. The trend has changed based on the Trendicator trend. We've got a low, high, higher low. Nice hammer, nice little gap in there. And here we're moving up. And, you know, if we're looking at targets to the upside, we'll start right there. We'll leave it right there at the 50. You know, we're going to have to get through this area here. But you can see the path. If you can see the possible path in the trade, the path may look like this. Let's move this over. There you go. That could be the path right there. And from here, you just trade price accordingly. So, anyway, I hope that made a little sense. And I'm not going to try to, I'm not one for putting, trying to get that trend in there, things like that. All I want to see is the path, and I see that path. Now I'll trade based on price, and I'll use the T-line an awful lot with that. Let's see, that was a short, so let's look at Microsoft for a long. Microsoft is still looking good. Let's get rid of that, and we'll get this back over here. There we are. Microsoft, we've broken out. There we go. We've broken out of these highs here, popped out. We have a nice doji continuation pattern, or a Fig Newton cookie pattern here. And that's very bullish. I have to be bullish on this until it's not bullish. For me, the not bullish would be pretty much close below the T-line there, just like that. So if we close below the T-line, then I have to rethink that bullish activity. But right now, it seems awful bullish. Let's find another one of those. Oh, let's do the VXX here. Or did we already do that? I don't think we did. Yeah, we did do that. FAZ. Take a look at FAZ here. Nice chart coming off the bottom. I think this chart has a nice little constructed double bottom right here. We've gone from that low to some highs, to a higher low, to a higher high. On all those we've looked at down here, might be a candidate where you draw that buy box in there. You wait for that pullback or that consolidation, or just your rules. That's important. Your entry, your rules. It's your money. Trade your way. This is just I'm just showing you some charts that I think have potential. The potential to move a little bit higher here. So anyway, there's a few charts there. Yeah, there's a few charts there. Let's go back and look at that SPY real quick. Here, we're still banging right in there, holding up. That's crazy. And the diamonds are down. Maybe we find a little support right in here. We've got some support right there. Crazy day. Did we look at IWM? I don't believe so. IWM. Maybe that's the bottom. I'm kind of thinking a little bit more down here. So, bottom line, today may be one of those days where we want to just be a little bit careful out there in the market. We all like to make money, but I think if you dig deep inside yourself, you also like to keep your money just as much. So keep that in mind, okay? All right. You guys take care. Thank you very much. I'll be back here in about 15 minutes. I appreciate Appreciate everybody being here, and well, we'll see you in about 15. Take care.